We are back with the Roy West Show here on News Talk 560 KLVI. You can hear us anytime on the free iHeartRadio app, as well as the Apple Podcast app and the Android Podcast app. So we make it super easy for you. And I have with me Shiloh Carr in the house with Love Sack. Am I saying it right? Yeah, Love Lunch Sack Ministry.
Right, Love Lunch Sack. It's tricky.
It is tricky, but I had you on a while back. It's been quite a while, and then I recently saw you because I've participated in going to the City of Beaumont Homeless Coalition meetings, and then they had a meeting, and you spoke, and you have a significant ministry here in Southeast Texas, and are familiar with the homeless population and the challenges. And first of all, I wanted you to come on and tell people what brought you to this, and also how people can support your ministry and what you see out there, because obviously people have opinions on homelessness as they do everything else, but it's always nice to hear from people that have their feet on the ground, if you will.
Right. Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I love the Roy West Show, and I'm glad to be back. The way I got started was in 2009, and I began to make lunches in my home, and I would get a group of friends, and we would drive out to the street, and we would locate the homeless wherever they were living at the time. So we weren't initially a facility where they had to come to us, because we know that transportation is an issue. So we would go out to them, we'd love on them, get them food, and meet some other needs. And in doing so, obviously we've expanded. We started, I think, with something like 50 lunches. And at one point we were up to 350 on a Sunday, and we were doing it every weekend for about 4 years. Love Lunch Sack Ministry is now 12 years old. And I do have a lot of experience with those that are out there on the streets. And I have an opinion too. And a lot of people mistake me for thinking that I'm solely a homeless advocate, which I am with my whole heart. But at the same time, I'm also a taxpaying citizen, and I own a business and homes and everything like that. So I have seen what's happening since the floods and since COVID, and I've seen the increase on the street and the congregating under overpasses and at street lights and things. And so I know that there are a lot of concerns by citizens and business owners for that. There's an obvious safety issue for me, in my opinion, when people try to approach cars or hold up street lights. There's a danger issue there. I personally feel like that we should follow the Holy Spirit in our life and say yes and give out according to what we are led in our heart. At the same time, those types of access ways and intersections are dangerous. I think it has become a travesty what's happening with all the trash. And I don't like it. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think that that's the way to live. I know that for those who are out on the street, they may not feel like they have options. But I believe, there was an old saying that you may be poor, but you don't have to be dirty. And so I believe in picking up and taking responsibility. And I was in that meeting, Roy, that you were in, and we've determined that it's not just the city. It's really not the city's responsibility, but it is the the highway division to provide those trash cans. And we've done so. I've seen them there. I've seen it be a little bit effective. A lot of that stuff has been picked up. I do wish that we did have an option in our community for those that are homeless or don't have a place to live or rest or go to the restroom or take showers. I do wish we had a larger facility that was available. I do know that the Salvation Army has been faithful in our community, and they do open their doors to those, but that number is very limited. And I feel like we're ready for something more. And that's exactly what those talks were about with the city and the Mayor's Homeless Coalition, is brainstorming, coming up with ideas. What can we do as a community to come together, and those of us that are in those industries to help? What can we do together collaboratively to make this work for everyone?
Well, I think that's a very good synopsis, because it's one of those things, like in today's world, most people have opinions. Sometimes they're just, from social media posts of other people. Oftentimes it's not from any firsthand experience. And I know in my instance, I was there on behalf of my church, but you get a better education by recognizing that there is duplication of services,
There is. Yes.
and how we as a community of faith, and people that love other people, but also
Right.
want to do something responsibly to help
Yes.
people, but not just enable people. And
Exactly.
but that therein, I think most people will agree to that. But then once you get that agreement, then it gets really difficult beyond those borders, just
It can.
because, yeah,
Yeah.
But
You're dealing with a lot
let's
of issues. You're not just dealing with someone who doesn't have a home. You're dealing with someone who doesn't have resources and doesn't have
right,
access to a shower, or doesn't have identification, or maybe has mental illness and it's been undiagnosed and they can't get to a doctor or have the resources to pay for a medication that they need. And if you happen to be mentally ill, you may not take your medication routinely. So there's a vast scenarios that really this falls into. It's not a one problem, one issue, one answer thing.
right. It's
Mhm.
not, and that's one reason I wanted to have you on the show, because
Mhm.
I want people to hear from people that are actually doing the ministry. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes people draw conclusions and they feel like they're educated, but they're educated based on the lens through which they've been exposed to it.
That's it. That's it.
And but your ministry being around 12 years,
Mhm.
what can you tell people about that? Because obviously it requires revenue in order to operate. It
Mhm.
requires
Mhm.
and how do people participate in that, and how do people find out more about it?
Well, Lump Lunch Sack itself is on Facebook, and you can find us there. You can message us there anytime. Um, I often exchange my phone number. My name is on my personal Facebook. My number is listed, but at any time, someone can reach out to us. The community at large gives to us. It's all private donations. Honestly, we have no overhead. We're ran 100% by volunteers, and we haven't lacked whatsoever. So if there's a need, God's been faithful to allow me to post that need, and then the community will come together and fill it absolutely
Right,
immediate. And so it doesn't have to be in a church organization. It has opened up to any group, bunco group, soccer team, school districts. I've been all over Texas. I'm thankful to be able to speak to different groups, but then they have participated. So that's the beauty of Love Lunch Sack, is it's not necessarily owned to where you can only have certain sects a part of it. So it's a lot of opportunity for volunteers and giving. You can give online through PayPal at our
okay,
Facebook page, or on our website, which is lovelikehimministries.org. And it's a simple click and a button. You can do it regularly, monthly, or however one time. Um, for us, we are gearing up. I'm going to be doing haircuts for the homeless pretty soon, for sure, in Port Arthur. I'll probably do that in Beaumont as well. Have to still get some of those things on our schedule. And then also, we're going to be passing out candy in the end of October, because that's fun, without saying the name, because not everybody's for that, but everybody loves candy. And
right.
so I'm going to link up with some people to do that. And we are gearing up for our 8th or 9th annual Christmas in the Park. So that'll be held downtown at Beaumont Wise Park. And
Right.
myself and another ministry will come together and host that. It's a phenomenal event, and the community comes and participates with that.
Well,
So we
that's
have a lot
awesome.
going on. Mhm.
Well, we are about a minute out. You've done really good. Now, one thing too, you mentioned something that I hadn't thought about, but if you're a community organization or association, a church small group, or it doesn't even
Right.
have to be a small group,
Yes.
would you be willing, if people reach out to come? Because I think educating people on the homeless challenges,
Yes.
about what we're really experiencing here in Southeast Texas, and I know you've seen that, and you
Yes.
you are ministering to those people, and
Hmm.
you also seem to do it through loving eyes, but your eyes are wide open. I mean,
Right.
you see what's going on,
Yes.
and so that's something you're willing to, if somebody reaches out, because I
Oh, I
could,
love it.
I'll,
It's one of my favorite things to do. And so
okay,
I have actually a few speaking engagements over the next couple of months, and that my calendar, I try to make myself always available to teach. That's one of my main goals, is to teach about street ministry and what the real things are going on. Oftentimes we look at maybe a homeless person as an alcoholic or a drug addict. That's not the case in every scenario. But at the same time, there are those that choose this lifestyle. And then there
Right.
are some that truly will prosper given a few hand ups, and then they can thrive. So you have a mix out there, just like you have a mix inside of the four walls of every home.
Right. Well, and I think I think that's a point that depending on what people have experienced, they draw conclusions about the whole
Right.
community.
Sure.
And what I've heard going to the meetings and from the different ministries is that homelessness is just like what you said in your four walls or what you run
That's
into in the
right.
world. Everybody's
Yeah.
different and
Right.
has different needs. And in terms of, it's not fair to stereotype any one person to be the same,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
but some people are going to be looking, for that hand up. And I know that's where
Sure.
a lot of people, feel like, well, I would love to help somebody that's really wants help.
Yes.
It's just being able to tell whether you're just helping somebody or just sustaining them. And I'm not saying one's wrong or not. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not politicizing it either way, but
Mm-hmm.
just being aware of what it is you're doing and how you're going about. Because I know people
Right.
carry, and we're really up on a hard 40 seconds here, but where we'll have to end. But I
Uh-huh.
know that, you have a lot of wisdom on this and you've
Thank
had a
you.
lot of experience. And
Yes.
I want to applaud you and let people know that
Thank you.
you are the real thing. I'm tagging you in
Thank you,
Facebook,
Lord.
but if they're out there looking and they
Yes.
have questions, they need to reach
Yes.
out to you. If they want to
Please.
help in a ministry, reach out. Reach out to
Yes.
Shiloh Carr,
Thank you.
Lunch, Love Sack Ministry,
Love Lunch Sack.
and I'm going
I
to tag it
promise
right
not
in
to quiz
Facebook.
you. I know.
Okay.
It's okay.
And
Yeah.
because it is a tongue twister, at least for
It
me,
is.
but I know it
I
does
know.
great work. Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Shiloh.
Appreciate you. Thanks.